Hi Manisha ji, hi Jisha ji, hi Madhumita ji, hi Sonia ji, everyone. Good evening once again, and welcome to the webinar. Do drop a WhatsApp message or anything in your groups from wherever you interact with the other professors or your colleagues, so that everybody can join in if they have forgotten or they are not remembering that today is a webinar, right? Hi everyone. Oh, thanks Chandir ji, thanks. Hi, good evening. Yeah, so it's 5:59 p.m. and we'll start in another minute, right? Till then, I want all of you to just focus, on what's there on the screen. Okay. Before starting the webinar, I want all of you to please tell me in the chat box what is your expectation from the webinar today. When you read the topic classroom as a nurturing ground for students, right? What do you think we will show in today's webinar, and today's webinar is all about? Quickly, under 2 3 minutes, just for interaction between you and I. And after breaking the ice, I will quickly start with the topic, right? So what did you expect? What is your expectation setting as of now, when you read the topic on the screen, right? Ki what will we learn in today's webinar? आज ये सीखने को मिलेगा, या maybe today I will learn this, right? So what did you think today's webinar or topic is all about? Any responses on the same? Anyone in the chat box? Okay. Preparing children for readiness before starting the class, you make healthy grow. Okay. Anything else? Yes. Harini ji says that making classroom interesting. Yes, that's a big part of today's webinar. Nurturing means more fruitful session. Yes, definitely. Effective teaching, learning processes, different methodology to deal with students. Okay. Okay. The importance of the role of a teacher. I have to say, Lipika ji, that that is somehow not very much connected to the topic. But yeah. Good guess. We set rules of our class, how to develop the holistic development of students. Yes, Rashmi ji, definitely. Anything else? Encourage something to develop and to help it succeed. Okay. Another one more minute for all the teachers to drop the responses, and after which we will start with the topic, from my end. Okay. You all can drop your responses in the chat box and I'll go through it. But just giving you expectation setting before the beginning of the webinar, as I always do, right? Today's webinar is not gonna be about, how to make learning more effective, or something like that. What you should expect from today's webinar is classroom is a space, right? So how did we exactly end up making classroom as a learning grounds? How did we exactly end up classroom as a space? And how exactly did we decided ki if there is a classroom, we have to use the classroom as a learning ground for students? And another expectation you should keep from today's webinar is that how to make classroom as a grounds, for nurturing or developing the students with greater efficiency and more effectively. That is the two expectations, all you should keep, all of you should keep from the webinar, right? So again, before starting, I make it very clear what the webinar is all about, so that you have a mindset that okay, this is what we are going to learn in today's webinar, and you will think in that particular direction, right? um okay, just give me 1 second and I'll quickly start. Well, hi everyone. Hi everyone, and good evening. Welcome to the webinar once again. Speaker for the day is again Harsha Agarwal. I have also taken a few previous webinars with you, in the last month also, right? And I hope you really, really enjoyed, all the webinars, right? Again, thank you for all the responses in the chat box. I've read each and every response from Avinash ji and other teachers as well. Great, actually a great response, right? And before we move on to what exactly a nurturing ground means, in today's world in the classroom, and how can we walk or work towards the same, we will discuss a little history, how we ended up, to the classroom setup and how it was in ancient times, medieval times, and the present times, right? And then we will see some statistics on the same, and then we will discuss finally how to make classroom as a grounds for developing students holistically, as someone mentioned earlier, right? I think Rashmi ji mentioned, how to develop classrooms, holistically, right? And make the students, get interested in whatever we teach a little more and develop them a little more. All right. Before we start with the topic, again, a message from the homework app and team. You get participation certificate for each and every webinar you attend. Even today's webinar is certified, right? We will send a link, a form link during the end of the webinar, that is by 7 p.m., filling which you will get your certificate within 24 hours via emails. Okay. And another opportunity is to earn money, worth 1999 and more, and a smart teacher certificate from the side of the homework app and team by participating in the smart teacher festival. All right. Now, how do you participate in the smart teacher festival? You just have to join the WhatsApp group. That is the particular button which is at the end of the form. Okay, what you fill every time. Okay, join the WhatsApp group. You will see a button at the end of the form, which we will send during the end of the webinar. All right. That's a simple message from the team. Again, moving ahead with the topic, right? Evolution, of the modern classroom setup. Okay, how did the classroom actually evolve? So before moving ahead to the contemporary knowledge, it's very important, we enrich ourselves a little, just 5 minutes, with a little history, as well, so that we are able to connect, more and more, okay, what we are going to learn today. Yeah. Okay. The is the ancient education system, from which it developed, to the medieval education system, and then we stepped on to the modern or the contemporary, education system, which is today as we see around, okay, the world, right? Now, talking about the ancient education system. All right. So the ancient education system basically had two things, right? We had the Vedic and we had the Buddhist, type of education. Medium of language was again, Sanskrit, and for the Buddhist system of education was Pali in the ancient times, right? Upanishads, Dharma Sutras, Brahmanas, Rig Vedas, Yajurveda, etc., were the major mediums, via which the students, okay, were educated. And what did the ancient education system focused on? Imparting truthfulness, integrity, discipline, self-reliance, humility, respecting all creations were the major focuses, okay, of the ancient education system. Now, question is, how is the ancient education system imparted, or how was it imparted, right? So classrooms were used even in the ancient education systems, but classrooms were more, of a forest classroom environment, which was open in nature, surrounded by nature, right? So whenever students used to get, the knowledge about anything, uh, it was ensured, that practicality is a major, major tool, which the teachers are using while explaining the students. If you're teaching how to shoot a bow and an arrow, if you are teaching them the art of, sword, yeah, art of sword skills, or if you're teaching them about any upanishads, right? If you're teaching them about the botany or the plant, teachers made sure that the classroom is a space, which is open, nurturing, which is connected to nature, right? And develops the student not only externally but also internally, to the core, or to the edge. All right, that was basically the ancient education system, right? And how it was taught. If we move on to the medieval, education system, as you can see on the screen, medieval education system was more established, by the Mohammedans, right? During the time of the 17th 18th century, when we came in the medieval India, it was slowly, starting to be dominated, okay, by the Mohammedans, who invaded India, right? Muhammad Ghaznavi, if you remember, was the one who captured India. And again, he also, as a ruler, set up a large number of institutions and libraries, across the country. Right, when the Muslim leaders came, that is the Arabs and the Turks, when they were ruling India, they not only brought a new education system, but they also brought in with them new tradition, new culture, new way of learning, and new system, of learning, which was different from the Buddhist, and the Sanskrit, education culture in the ancient times, right? And henceforth, if I have to talk about the medieval age, I should say that in the medieval age, mostly, if you have heard, madrasas, and institutions like this were developed, okay, for education. So from the forest open practical learning, we moved on, to a closed setup of madrasas or institutions, which were used for teaching a particular group of students, right? Wherein, people used to sit on the floor, and there was a kind of discipline, which was instilled in the students in this kind of learning setup. Yeah. So again, practical education, but more of a focus, on closed wall education system, wherein classrooms, had walls now, right? The definition of classroom changed when you move from ancient to medieval. Okay. And moving ahead to the modern education system, the modern education system was mostly characterized by the Britishers, right? When the Britishers came to India, again, there was another new wave of education which came along with them, with the development, of benches, and desks, and sitting arrangements in the classroom and not on the floor. Yeah, they had a different definition of a classroom, of education, how it should be imparted, and that is how we developed the entire system, of a school, with a classroom and with a library, etc., etc. Right. Right now, we also have massive open online course, that is the MOOC course, MOOC, as we popularly know it, right? And classrooms again came to be equipped, with projectors, LED, that is light emitting diode, computers, and other technologies, as you can see on the screen, teach the students, right? Even the government became very very active, in all these things, the classroom should be enriched with all these kinds of systems and procedures to ensure maximum efficiency and learning, to the students. So what we did in the last 8 to 9 minutes is basically a walkthrough from the ancient education system to the medieval and to the modern education system, and how the definition of education developed, as and when the eras changed, and as and when the eras changed, how education development and imparting of the same in the classrooms also changed. So the definition of classroom, also developed, right? Okay, too many chats, so I'll just go to the chat once again. Oh, good evening once again, everyone. And yes, thank you so much for joining in the webinar. I hope you didn't miss the beginning, wherein I discussed the history, of the webinar just now. And yeah, I hope, that you all are catching up as and when I am going, right? Good evening, everyone. Definitely, Avinash ji. They exhibited appropriate levels of dominance and cooperation. Yes, definitely. Rekha ji, no worries. Even if you missed, the recording will be there in the YouTube channel of the application. You can get the recording from there. But please do watch if you have missed the same. Yeah. Thank you. So that was a brief history, how our education system and the definition of classrooms developed, right? Moving ahead, if we see in today's world, right, if we see the statistics, the news, the blogs, etc., there's a stark difference even in the modern education system, right? The way the classrooms were in 2000 or 2005 was very different than the way the classrooms are in 2022, right? It's definitely right. You all can connect to the same. uh, Classrooms became more effective, with time, right? They became more colorful, they became more flexible, they became more tech oriented. Too many gadgets, got used, in the classrooms, or are getting used in the classrooms today, to make sure that the students, learn from each and every medium, okay, they adopt, right? That's again very, very important. Okay. It became more colorful. Earlier, if you see the structure of 2002 or 2005 classrooms were, designed with a very simple color, a simple brown bench and maybe gray or white walls, right? I have studied in that kind of a classroom, blue and white walls. That is how the classroom colors used to be. That was a standard for every classroom. But right now, if the teachers see, all the classrooms, have become so colorful, and lively, right? It actually makes your mind light up, as in when you enter the classroom. Yellow or blue walls, with beautiful decorated, benches and colors and pots, and various decorative items kept in the classroom, just to provide, that essence, of effective classroom learning to the students, right? Again, a lot of focus on infrastructure has been there in the past years as well. If we see the classrooms, before 2010, it was just a simple, wooden benches, which were there, with a wooden board and chalk and duster. But right now, if we see the infrastructure, we have two kinds of boards in the classroom, both the chalk and duster and the projector, right? We have, beautifully plywood designed, tables in the classroom for the students to sit with the maximum comfort and feel, a sense of elegance, and a sense of, effectiveness when they enter the classroom, right? Because that is how psychology works. The more comfortable a student is in a particular setup or in the classroom, the more comfortably, they can impart, they can take in whatever has been imparted to them. So again, just to show you, a brief of how we moved from the ancient to medieval to the modern education system, and how classrooms became more and more effective, with time in the modern era itself. The definition of classroom kept on changing, right? Some of the teachers here on call who are teaching from the last 20-25 years are the witnesses, are the eyewitnesses of the same, how classrooms were earlier, and how these schools refurbished the classrooms, okay, to become more flexible, more colorful, more joyous, more comfortable for students. Am I not right? You all know the answer, right? Yeah, exactly, Avinash. How equitable, and positive classroom interactions with all students is being emphasized. Yes, definitely, it has been, right? Again, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining in the webinar, right? If you have missed any part of the same, do watch the YouTube recording later on in the YouTube channel of the homework app. All right. So that is what we discussed right now, as how classrooms became more effective with time. Moving ahead, there are four theories, on the learning environment. Okay. Even if we are a classroom teacher, we should know that there are various theories, which caters to the learning environment inside the classroom, right? And the four theories which we are going to discuss is basically the physical learning environment, the cognitive approach, the behaviorism approach, and the constructivism or the constructivist approach, right? I missed the spelling of, R. I'll just correct it right now. I'm very sorry. It's LEAR. Okay. Physical learning approach. Okay. Yeah. All right. So if we talk about, these theories, okay, we'll understand how the learning environment inside the class has also been characterized with various theories. Talking the first about the constructivist or the constructivism theory, right? It basically says that learning should be collaborative in nature, right? Ki, agar if we are trying to learn or impart anything to students in class, it should be effective, in nature, wherein the students and the teachers both come together, right? And making learning 100% effective. So constructivism is basically collaboration, right? Where learning is, integrative, and teachers are known as facilitators, okay, and not instructors. It's thought that, many schools, are moving towards more of a constructivism approach, if we see, right? And when it comes to design and layout of today's classroom, we'll notice that schools are trying to, rely and bring in more and more of the constructivist approach, wherein teachers and students can collaborate on a particular topic each and every class, each and every time, and gain the maximum efficiency out of it. right? So the first of the learning environment theories is my constructivism, again a classroom theory. Okay, the second is behaviorism. Behaviorism basically kya karta hai, it promotes a very traditional learning environment where the student is a passive learner, right? Classrooms are laid out in rows, all facing the teachers as the key focal point in the room. So basically, behaviorism is a kind of a learning environment in the classroom which focuses on the traditional or rote form of learning. Okay. What happens is all the students are made to sit, in rows, in different rows as our classes are arranged right now in India, right? Different rows and different columns. And all the rows and columns basically faces the teacher who stands in the center of the classroom and teach the student. Okay. That is a classroom layout again. So, for those of you who don't know, there are various classroom layouts, and design, which has to be implemented by the schools, okay, and by let's say you as a teacher to make learning the most effective. And these theories tell you, about those layouts, okay, and about those designs, and how can you gain the maximum efficiency out of the same. All right. Third is cognitive approach. Okay, cognitive approach is nothing but in any layout, in any classroom layout, you make the students sit. Students is a very active participant when learning happens. Okay, so whenever you teach anything in the classroom, if you're a biology teacher, maths teacher, science teacher, history teacher, if you're teaching any of the topics like the Boston Tea Party, the plant system, if you're a chemistry teacher and teaching about atoms and ions, etc., student is a very very active learner, so you make sure that the student participates in the process very very actively, and he's learning whatever is taught inside the four walls, okay, of the classroom, right? And then the last model we come to is the physical learning environment. So physical learning environment again is more of an open environment for learning, right? Usually a single or two-story buildings, which are connected by walkways. Okay. So if you have seen, in many schools, what they do is they have this multiple blocks, inside the same school grounds, and all the blocks, are connected from one another for different classes. So let's say in block one I have my biology class, in block two I have my physics class, in block three I have my biology and chemistry lab, in block four I have my social studies class, right? So what schools and teachers try to do is you make students, be active, learn more and more by walking around, the campus, let's say the entire day or for the 5 and 6 hours they are there, right? From one building, from one classroom to the other. So what this does is कि ये encourage करता है एक बहुत ही inquisitive approach को, बहुत ही integrative approach को, right? As people can easily move between indoor and outdoor learning environments, right? Again, the environment which you provide them, should be very very homely, should be very very comfortable, more of a, a bean bag or a cushion approach, rather than desk and chairs, in the classroom. Okay, so when we talk about the physical learning environment, 2 points which one has to focus upon is that you make sure that the students are allowed to move, flexibly from one place to another, right? And secondly, when you're teaching all these things to students are able to connect with the topic, more and more, and they are comfortable in their physical settings. So maybe rather than a desk and chair, you can use things like, a cushion, and a bed sheet, in the classroom when the students are sitting on ground, and they're learning, right? Maybe you allow one class in one day wherein they can sit or they can lean in any posture, they like, right? Maybe you just leave them free, and make the classroom as a home to them, right? So that they learn in any way, in any position they want. If some of you don't know, it is the same approach which has been adopted by companies like Google, Microsoft, and Amazon in today's world. All these companies, if you go and search on Google, if you go and search on Google itself, you will find, that Google, Microsoft, Glassdoor, etc., all these companies are leaving their employees, free, right? They're trying to make the working environment as flexible as possible, with cushions and games and sleeping pods, etc., so that the employees don't feel burnout, and they're removing the desk and chair, slowly and steady, right? Again, the same can be used for the classrooms and the schools as well if planned appropriately. So these are the four learning environments, or learning environment theories which I wanted to discuss before we move ahead, right? um Sangamitra ji says I'm not loud enough, I think. Am I louder, or is my voice a problem for everyone? Can everyone just confirm once? Definitely, Avinashi. Horseshoe U shape can be useful as well in the classrooms. I feel it's a very good classroom layout. If I'm not wrong, you're talking about the classroom layout, right, Avinashi? If you can just confirm, I can talk about the same. It's loud and clear, right? All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you for the responses, teachers. Okay, yes. So Avinash basically, first of all, hats off to the idea. I really agree to the U shape, horseshoe layout, because I feel that when you make a horseshoe layout in the classroom, you have a good amount of space, in between as well. Like when you make a U layout in the classroom with a desk and benches, there's a space in between, as well. A circular space is left out, wherein the teachers, can stand in between the students, can walk around and see what each and every student, okay, is doing. And you can also use the space in between for things like maybe other activities in the classroom, maybe a chart paper, or a painting, right? Or let's say decorating the classroom, okay, with all the students coming together, maybe a group activity, maybe conversations, maybe 3D paintings can be displayed in the middle of the classroom related to the topic, right? And there's so many things which can be done. Actually, yes, definitely, Avinashi. U-shaped classroom horseshoe layout is also very, very good. You have to, if you can use it, if it, but I think it can be used only for small classrooms, not very big classrooms, because it doesn't work for that, right? um yeah, exactly, definitely, Avinashi. Small classrooms, I think this particular layout will be like really, really good. For language class, parliament structure, and for calculative subjects like maths and accounting, traditional is useful. Definitely, Miteshji, you can say it's useful, but we'll discuss more, a little more on the classroom layout and how to make the classrooms, more effective, okay, with the same, right? So, yeah, definitely agree to the point, Miteshji, but we'll discuss more on the same, and I think it will really help you, to gather a perspective as well. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for the response. Really, really appreciate it. Well, as per research, if we see certain effective classroom things, certain things which makes the classroom effective, certain pointers, certain elements, we will discuss right now, right? There are 5 to 6 elements, which makes the classroom design very, very effective as per the research and development done in the recent years. All right. So a flexible working space, as I already told you, big giant companies, like the HUL, the Google, okay, or the Amazon, etc., they are adopting flexible, working spaces or flexible learning spaces, for their employees, because of the research done in this area, right? That is a one reason why students, should also have that opportunity, in the classroom, to be flexible, to sit in whatever position they like, to work in whatever position makes them the most comfortable, and to allow them to move around the classrooms, from one place to another. Mobility is very important to keep them active and to keep them engaged. So just reading out, if anybody cannot see my slide because of network problems, I'll just read out the slide once for all of them, right? A flexible working space is the first point, one that can be adapted to changing teaching requirements, the facilitating independent and quite individual learning time, as well as group work and wider class discussion times. So a flexible working space, right? A working space which can be characterized for group learning environment, for individual learning environment, or for rote learning environments. Whatever kind of learning or activity you want to do in the classroom, you can characterize the classrooms in that manner, maybe in just 5 to 6 minutes. That's how flexible, the classroom should be. If you're using a desk and chair setup, if you're using a cushion and bed sheet setup, right? Mostly used in the singing classes, if I'm not wrong, the cushion and bed sheet setup, right? All these things should be designed in such a way that you can move it around with the help of the students, in the beginning 5 minutes, and arrange it in whatever way you like. If you think today's singing class or dance class or biology class or history class, mathematics class has to be a group learning environment, arrange the desk and tables in such a way that it facilitates, groups, okay, the clusters, as Avinash said. Definitely, okay, clusters. If you think that the class today requires individual attention and individual learning, arrange all the desk and chairs or whatever setup you're using in the classroom with the, with a particular amount of space, in between each and every student, right? So that they're not able to disturb each other, they're not able to chit chat, during the time, when you are teaching them something, right? Spaces in between rows, in between desk is very, very essential, right? So again, you have to understand that when you are practicing a flexible working space, a flexible learning space, it should be designed, or it should be made flexible, in that manner, taki you can move around, from one particular type of learning to the other. Okay, I'll just check the chat box 1 minute. Definitely, definitely. The recording of the full session will be there on YouTube, ma'am, sir. So if anybody of you have missed anything, don't worry. You can watch the same on YouTube later. All right. Definitely, Mruduji. Flexible learning environment, the four environment cluster. Yes, yes, definitely, Avinashi, Mruduji. Thank you so much for that. Definitely. All right. The next thing, as per the research which was found out for an effective classroom, is the L-shaped classroom. Okay. A popular design as students can move around the room, taking part in different activities while still feeling part of one class. It also enables the classroom to be easily split into different areas. For example, you could have a quiet reading area, a technology area, arts and craft area, etc. Okay, the L-shaped classroom. Okay, L-shaped classroom basically says that in one classroom, I'm very sorry, in a single classroom setup, you can have different, sections for, different sections of classrooms, and that's so effective if we see dividing the classroom into different sections. Okay, let's say if my class has a strength of 50 people, right? I arrange my desk and chairs in such a way that I can segregate the students who are good at listening. I can segregate the students who are good at using technology. I can segregate one section who are good at, let's say reading, and I can segregate one section who are good at making notes. Okay, let's say you divide the classroom of 50 students into four sections. Please listen to this very carefully. Okay, four sections may I split my classroom. Okay, in the same way, I've also separated the desk and benches, in four sections, and made equal, spaces for all the students who are good at tech, reading, making notes, and listening. Right? What do I do with this is, if I'm teaching, let's say, any particular chapter in English literature, or let's say in biology, or any other theoretical subjects. Okay, when classroom is split up into four sections, each group knows that they excel into this particular element, maybe the element of listening, or maybe the element of making notes. And since they already know that they specialize in this particular element, they will do that particular thing with the utmost attention and with the utmost effectivity. So during the end of the classroom, what you can do is, the last 10 minutes of the classroom, right, you can tell all the four groups to come together and exchange, whatever they have learned during the session. The group which was, characterized with making notes can distribute their notes to the entire classroom, right? The group which was characterized, okay, with the reading can tell all the students, whatever they have marked in the book, while the teacher was explaining the chapter. The group which was characterized with technology can tell all the students, that okay, this particular websites can be used, for extra learning or extra practice, or maybe this application can be used for extra practice after the class. And the group which was characterized, okay, with, let's say, listening, can tell the entire class, what they listened, to the teacher, and what they understood from today's topic. And this way, all the four groups who specialize in a particular element comes together. They make exchange, of their own, skills and, elements. And at that ways, students only make the classroom, effective with 100% efficiency, right? Nirmala ji, this particular method is applicable for all standards actually, Moreover, this kind of, system in the classrooms, division in the classroom, okay, is very, very essential, because not only it helps the teacher to make the classroom easier, but also it gives a layout and structure to the classroom, which makes the students also feel that they specialize in this particular area, and it's their job to do this particular thing. It's the 10 students job in section, in section 1 of the classroom to make notes. It's the another section's work in the classroom to maybe listen to the teacher and explain to the other students what they've learned in the classroom, right? So you have to adapt different types, of learning and teaching methods inside the classrooms as well, right? It's great for discussions as well as case study discussions and lectures as well. Just an idea from my end. Okay, moreover, it's applicable for all the children. And how to select the star child? The student who shows the most active participation, let's say in all the classes with this type of setup, can be given a particular gift or a particular reward, to have that accomplishment in their minds, right? Maybe during the end of the first month or the second month, etc. Exactly. These kind of methods, teachers don't think of these kind of methods, but these are very, very interesting. Not only L shape or the U horse shape things you can do in the classroom, but whatever I told just now can also be done, right? Divide your classrooms. And when you divide the classrooms, also arrange the desk and benches in such a way that each and every section or group is different from the other group. There's a space in between each and every group, right? And shuffle these groups in every class so that students can mingle with other students, and they learn how to make notes, how to do everything till the end of the classroom, right? This is just one example of the L-shaped classroom, and the other methods which you can use. Divide your classroom, okay? As the old rule goes, okay, divide and rule. Learn the art of specialization. Make small groups specialize in certain things, and then make all the groups come together to specialize in everything. Okay, moving ahead to the next topic, that is colors. Okay, the research shows that colors inside the classroom can affect the mood of the students, right? A dull colored classroom does not inspire students, whereas using bold colors creates a fun, playful environment that will engage students. Any of the teachers right here on call who has taught in the schools for 20 years and more knows that even in the modern or contemporary education system, colors, the way the classrooms were colored or designed is very different. If we see the classrooms 10 years back, I have studied from a classroom which was white and blue in color and very dull, honestly. Simple brown benches and white and blue in color, that's it. Whereas right now, if today we see the classrooms, they're characterized with such colors, blue, yellow walls, or for the nursery children, we have paintings on the walls of zoo, elephants, zebras, etc. And it's so nice, to see the walls actually. The desks, are all plywood, and steel benches, which are there, which gives you a feeling of, elegance when you go to your classroom, it makes you want to learn, it makes you want to go to that classroom and sit, right? Again, if your classroom has scraped walls, agar painting bahar aa gaya, right? If the painting has scraped, if the walls are dull in color, please go and tell the school that the classroom requires a modification and refurbishment. Okay, students require a good environment to learn and to grow, right? And it's very important that the school maintains healthy classrooms for the students, right? Otherwise nobody will want to learn, and it's the same classroom they have to sit every day, right? It's like their second home, so you have to make it very beautiful and very good for them to be comfortable. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much everyone for the comments. Thank you. Oh, that's great, Nudilji. That's great if you're dividing it by MUNs. MUNs are actually a very good way, for growth and development. Hats off to that topic. Thank you. Well, moving on to some other pointers, as per research, which again makes a classroom very effective, is natural lighting again. Okay. It is also noticed that natural lighting has to be there in the classrooms. Many classrooms, are there which does not get any kind of sunlight, they're just these white tube lights, which are there. And, again, these kind of things, too much lighting for 5 to 6 hours in the student's head makes them, sleepy, makes them tired. And, sometimes it also gives them headache. It's true. Natural lighting, it has been seen in the research that classrooms which have plenty of natural light improve, a student's result. So where possible, classrooms should be designed to face the east and the west to get the best of the daylight without the glare, right? Classrooms should be designed in such a way that all the classes in the schools, have a natural lighting in them, right? If you are getting a classroom, if you are getting to choose your classroom, choose the classrooms, which get a lot of sunlight. And sunlight, in the sense, the sunlight should also come in such a way that it is just perfect, in its intensity. Not too much sunlight, not less sunlight, just the perfect intensity. Classroom design is again very, very important. The amount of sunlight which comes in the classroom is very, very important. It makes the students feel lively, it makes the student pay more attention and not feel dull and gloomy, under the tube lights, right? So again, encourage the classrooms to be a more light, a more light, and a more healthy environment, sunny environment. And if you're not getting sunlight in your classrooms, make sure You take the students out at least 2 to 3 classes per week in the open, so that they feel that, okay, wow, this classroom is this class is kind of airy, and nice, and they will pay the utmost attention in your classes. That is how the human brains work, right? We need something interesting to pay attention to. Okay. Natural light is another point. Temperature. These things, we don't pay attention to, but again, these things are there, which comes under the classroom arena, and it's kind of very interesting to know about these things, right? Temperature. 20 degrees Celsius is seen to be an ideal, temperature for the classrooms. Neither too hot nor too cold, right? So 20 to 25 degrees Celsius is a very ideal classroom temperature for the students to study, for the students to gain the maximum effectiveness from whatever they study. I know temperature is something which is not in our control, and every school cannot also have air conditioners, etc., in their classroom, right? It's not possible right now in India. The infrastructure is not that developed, right? But yes, temperature, just for your knowledge, if later on your school, is able to develop all these kind of infrastructures with the proper coolers and ACs, 20 degrees Celsius, 25 degrees Celsius is the appropriate temperature one should exercise. Okay. And the last point is, familiarity and comfortableness. Okay. Children need to feel ownership and pride, in their classroom. Where schools have to double up classrooms as school halls or meeting rooms, personal touches such as children's displays, pegs, or personal drawers can get lost. Children who work in a classroom that is familiar with their work on display on the walls will feel a much greater responsibility to learning. If the furniture is comfortable, bright, and familiar, it will create a warm, stimulating environment where children can learn and grow to the best of their ability. So, what the last point is trying to say is, if the benches you are placing in your schools, right, are very, sometimes if you see, when students come to standard 9 or 10, right, obviously they are in the puberty stage, right? They are in the growth stage. So when they sit in those particular wooden benches, sometimes, they don't get the appropriate leg space. Have you seen? You might have seen for some students, they're not able to adjust, their legs in underneath the table because it's very small, the gap between the table and the, table and the floor. So they're not able to adjust their legs. For certain students who are very very heighted, in nature, right, they're not able to keep or place their hands properly on the table because, the tables and chairs are not planned properly or appropriately, right? So again, the last point is trying to say, since the students are there in the schools for such a long time, the first thing you need to make sure is when they come to the classroom, there has to be a feeling of ownership, that okay, this is my bench, this is my classroom. Okay. I feel good, when I go to the classroom, my classroom is bright and airy. It doesn't stink, whenever it is hot, it is so airy and open. The temperature is just, wow, it's not too hot, not too cold, and it's just mediocre temperature. It feels good. There's a natural lighting whenever I go to my classroom. There's a good layout and structure which my teachers have maintained in the classroom. And the benches and desk on which I sit is also very, very comfortable, right? Furniture should be very comfortable for the students. They have to sit there for 5 to 6 hours. How can you even expect from a student to not be comfortable and take everything, whatever the teacher is teaching them with the utmost efficiency, right? So whenever they go to the classroom, these things are to be taken care of inside the classroom. That is when it becomes a nurturing ground, or a ground for growth and development. These things are a one time investment, but you invest once, it can give you results for years and years to come, right? So these are some of the pointers, for the effective classroom design as per the recent research, what has been done. Okay. Moving ahead to crux, of today's webinar, how classrooms can be converted into nurturing grounds for students. Okay. Basically, we use the classroom's environment with the maximum efficiency, and we try to make the space as interesting, as possible. And how do we do that? We have several pointers on the same as well. All right. First, make your classrooms very, very lively. Um, each and every teacher, who is present here on call. Okay. Now, I want you to look on the screen with the utmost attention and detail, right? Because there will be pictures coming up in the next slides. Okay, slides to follow. And I want you to look at the slides, how these classrooms are decorated with the least of investment, just with simple paper, or origami papers, or with simple tools, like threads, and polka dots, sketch pens, paintings. You can decorate it so beautifully, if you plan it well. Yeah. Also, to all the teachers, is an activity for all of you today during the end of the session, which I will tell you. So be ready for the same as well. Okay, it will be very, very fun. All right. Oh, that's so great, Noorji. That's so great. Thank you. That's really, really great to hear. So again, lively classrooms, are a must. Okay, you have to make your classrooms colorful. Integrate all the colors you have in mind: violet, silky, blue, purple, pink, red, black, everything. Okay, your classrooms like this. Something which imparts knowledge to students, something which makes them more dutiable, something which makes them more responsible, something which makes them happy. When they look at when they look at these things, they should feel happy in the classroom. Okay, again, as you can see in the first here, can you see Miss Kelly? Can you all see this Miss Kelly right here? And here is written, welcome to our class. Encourage the students to do these kind of activities for their teachers and for their peers. Till you don't encourage them to use the classroom to the best of effectiveness, to do these kind of things for their teachers and peers, they will never learn how to decorate their classrooms. Again, a very important skill at this particular level is to learn how to do things for other people free of cost and to just make them feel good, right? It's very important. Oh, that's great, Aparnaji. If you're doing, that's great. Again, you all might be using many of these pointers, but just to reinforce the ideas, I have put on these pointers here, which I saw, of research and development, right? So I read many research papers, blogs, articles, TED talks, etc., and I came up with this 6 7 pointers, which I felt is very, very important. Okay, yes. So if you are doing the same, please keep on doing the same. If you are not, you have to start today. Okay, lively classrooms is the first thing, as you can see. This is the classroom should be. It should be very lively and playful and colorful and loads of things to look around. Okay, if you can see, this classroom is so effective. There's art and there's decor. If you can see on the top here, this chemistry formulas, which are written on the top right here. Okay, and there is also small A B C D which is written for the nursery students. Okay, again, these things can be designed in the classrooms as well. Multi classrooms for multi-purpose subjects and multi-purpose teaching. Okay, moving on to the next point: correct assortment for ensuring group learning. Again, if you're not using a flexible classroom, I request you all to assort or use the same. Okay, if you see this classroom, and the benches right here, can you see the benches are triangular in shape? And here is a bench which is it's shape, right? And all these benches are brought together to fit in a circular shape for group learning. Never expect group learning in the traditional classroom layout. The layouts which the Indian schools have right now, the rows and columns which we have in a classroom. Group learning can never happen in that environment, because every student sits facing the other student in front of them, and that is not how group learning happens. Group needs to in a sitting or in a layout like this to ensure maximum efficiency. There has to be one table like this at the center, with students facing each other whenever they work on a particular project or a particular assignment. If you are telling the students to make a wind turbine or a volcano, an erupting volcano for the physics or chemistry project, or you're telling them to make, let's say, a plant, explain the plant system with the help, of a botany assignment in biology, you have to put them with this kind of layout, to provide the maximum efficiency, right? Exactly, definitely, Hemanji. Totally agreed. Totally agreed. Okay, Monisha ji, again, totally agreed with your point as well. Theme-based decoration, exactly. That's really great, actually. That's really great. Theme-based decoration for different classrooms or different subjects. Again, very nice. Okay, so again, correct assortment, the correct decoration for that classroom, as you all said, and the correct environment is very, very essential. Okay, uh, again, you can see this is another setup for the classroom, and it's so beautiful, the walls. Can you see the walls, how the drawings are there? And you can see there's a whiteboard here as well for the students. There are sofas right here in front of the board, and then there are several benches which are connected together for the group learning. Can you see? And how each and every group has a space from the other group in between. There's a space in each and every, between each and every group. So this kind of environment, when the students can sit, they can face each other, they can look at each other's work when they are working in a group is very essential. So just to give you an example, that whenever you want to ensure a different kind of learning, correct layout is very, very essential in the classroom. Otherwise, it's kind of difficult. Garvji, you see, basically group studies, are a methodology which has been used by teachers, when they have case study discussions for their subjects, or when they have any project and assignment making, right? So whenever you have any such kind of thing, maybe if you don't have such kind of spaces in your school, if you don't have such kind of assortment in your classrooms, if your classrooms are not flexible, you can take them to the playgrounds as well. Take them to any open space in your school, okay? Maybe to the auditorium, maybe to the stage, any space which is open in nature. Make them sit in groups, of 5 or 10, not big groups. Maybe groups of just 5 or 6, which are the most effective, and make them work towards a particular topic, or a particular assignment, and then tell all the groups to come together and criticize, each and everybody's assignment. Criticism is very important to know whether our work is up to the mark or not. And as a teacher, you can criticize every work, but as a student, when they criticize, each other's in a group study, layout, they get to think, they learn how to think, how to criticize, and what are the shortcomings in a particular assignment, right? Okay. So this is another point, which I wanted to show all of you. You can see another picture I have put, for the group, how a teacher is here, and how various students, 4 or 5 students are sitting in each and every bench, and they're working towards, their own assignment and projects, right? That is how group studies should go. Okay. Next point, individual desk decor. I couldn't find any pictures for the same, so I just put this simple bench, which is used in our classrooms, I think, as of today, right? This is a plywood steel bench, which we use, rather than the old brown wooden benches, which were used in my time. Okay. So individual desk decor is very essential. Okay. If you think that the two students who sit on this particular bench are weak in physics, are weak in mathematics, tell them to bring a chart, a chart wherein your chart of the periodic table, or a chart of the mathematics formula, and maybe stick at the back of their benches here. They can stick the charts, here at the back of their benches, or maybe, on the tables, on this particular desk, they can stick all those things they feel they're weak at. So that when they see this every day, when they see the formulas every day on this desk, on which they have to sit for 5 to 6 hours, when they have to see the formulas or the periodic table every day on the benches where they have to sit, they will automatically learn the same, without any efforts. So if your students are facing to learn or to memorize these little things, tell them to stick these things, somewhere here or here on the desk. Just tell them to stick it. Every day when they come, even if they don't want to see, they will definitely see this space. They will definitely see this space. And visual learning is a very good medium for students to learn. Encourage students to decorate their individual desk, wherever they are sitting. Encourage them that decorate the desk and benches the way you like, and which is the most effective for you. Okay. That is the third point. Fourth, classroom as a multi-purpose ground. Don't think that, this particular classroom is only for subject teaching, or that particular classroom, is only for singing or dancing. Make your classroom, layout in such a way that it can be used, for multi-purpose things. Okay. Use your classroom for things. A very good idea, is Madhubani painting. Madhubani painting is basically, done on cloths, right? You can use this painting style for, subjects as well. Okay. Maybe painting a particular character on the particular cloth, or painting a particular, formulas. Okay. If you're a mathematics teacher, algebra se leke, trigonometry se leke, probability se leke, tell them to paint the formulas, on that particular cloth, and hang the cloth on the side of the classroom, or maybe near the board, right? That is very, very essential. So use your classroom for everything. In your sessions, in your subject, try to inculcate, thank you. Okay. Try to inculcate everything, like singing, dancing, painting, subject teaching, etc. That is how the classes become, lively. They become they become a grounds, for nurturing for each and everything, right? I'll just see the questions once again, just a minute. uh, Ma'am, but it should be removed during exam and by pasting tables will lose its time. Pooja ji, definitely. I completely understand your point, Again, as I said, it basically depends, on how you plan, right? So what you can do is, Pooja ji, on this particular desk, okay, tell them to first stick a white chart paper with the help of tapes, not glue. If I'm telling you to stick it, I'm telling you to stick it with the help of tape, not glue. Whenever you stick, with tapes, anything on these tables, they will not lose their shine. They will not lose their painting or anything. Tapes, simple white tapes, it never affects the painting or the shine of the benches. So whenever you have to stick with the help of tape, not glue. And moreover, if you are worried about, ruining the benches, just tell them to stick, a white chart paper on each and every bench first with the help of a tape. And on that chart paper, they can stick multiple things. Okay, yeah. You can use sellotape as well, right? Exactly. That is what I'm saying. Okay, you can use a white sellotape. Yeah, you can try those things. Just stick a chart paper, and on the chart paper, you can tell them to stick things. Okay, so these kind of things can be done. It again depends upon you how comfortable you are, in adopting all these things, right? And again, the next point was about using classroom as a multi-purpose ground. Don't restrict your classroom to just studying. Encourage role plays, simulations, classroom discussions. Watch movies in the classroom related to your topic, and everything you can do. Make classroom a space where you do everything to make students learn and to make students enjoy. Yeah. Again, a very popular method, in Singapore and Japan, is they make their students clean their own classrooms, and this is a very good technique to ensure discipline, to ensure control, and to ensure that students feel, an ownness. Students feel ek apnapan. They feel that the classroom is their own space. Okay, they should feel a sense of ownness towards their classroom. Allow your students to clean classrooms, very, very important. Again, make sure, that you have certain kind, these kind of regulations in your school system. In Japan and in Singapore, this happens. Students clean their own classrooms. When you tell them to clean their own classrooms, it makes them disciplined. It makes classroom a space, which is like home. It makes classroom a nurturing grounds. The definition of nurturing grounds is this. Okay, very very, very important that you make students do all these things. From windows to floor, everything should be cleaned by them. Okay. Moving ahead to the next point, if you are trying to empower digitized classrooms, right? If you're trying to use certain applications, etc., to make your classes more effective, I think you should go ahead with applications, which serve more than one purpose. Okay, a very good example of it again is the homework application, which can be used in any kind of setup, offline, online, hybrid, especially for offline as well. The app has 7 to 8 lakh p-type questions, subjective se leke, MCQ se leke. There are all kind of questions in the applications along with, the answers, right? You can auto-generate quizzes, you can auto-generate worksheets, competency-based questions as per the new board, syllabus, right? Which is coming very, very soon. Blue economy books are there. Students don't need to download the particular application. It's completely free of cost. There's no charge at all. Create assignments, homework in just 30 seconds. Auto-generated report card and auto-generated worksheets, and all subjects are available from standard 1 to standard 10. 11 and are still under development and will be coming very, very soon, right? So again, use applications, use technology, which doesn't confuse students, and you can use, one app as a solution for all. A very good example of the same is the homework app as well. Again, making classroom as a very effective space for learning and development, and with the use of technology as well. Okay. Again, shuffle every time, right? So this is a particular setup I've created on my own with the help of the stickers. Okay, what I'm trying to convey here is that, every time you ensure group learning, or you divide your classroom into various layouts, shuffle the groups every time. Don't make the same groups, do the same things. Okay, if you're making these groups, sing, or these groups do the role play this time, shuffle the groups every time, so the class, a holistic for all the students, a space where all the students feel comfortable with the other students, right? They shouldn't feel that, um they shouldn't feel that, Okay, 1 minute. Raghav Raghuvanshi ji. Okay, Raghav ji, sure, sure, sure. I'll just unmute you for 1 minute. Generally, we don't do this, sir. We don't unmute anybody because it will not be fair for the other teachers, right? There are 383 teachers on call, and if I unmute, one of you, I have to give the unmute access to all of you, right? Everybody who wants to speak and talk. But if there's anything specific, Raghav ji, I would really, really request you to, to please paste post your question or your query in the chat box to me personally. You can message me personally as well. Nobody else can read your chat. Because if I give you the unmute option right now, I think it will be unfair for the other teachers. So I'm very sorry for the same, sir. But yeah, you can message me personally on chat box only. No worries at all. Okay. Mitesh ji, I am giving you my email ID, sir. You can text me the details on my email ID. I have a lot of time to come and give lectures, so no worries. If anybody of you wants to call me for any separate lectures, etc., I'm giving my email ID, Mitesh ji, in the chat box to you. You can email me the details, on those on my particular email ID. It's Harsha at the rate octo app.ai. This is my work email ID. Just email me here if there's anything you want me to tell. Okay. Oh, that's very nice one, CG. Definitely, definitely. Okay. So I've given my email ID in the chat box. If anybody of you wants to contact me for anything, just contact me on this email ID. Yeah. All right. Shuffle every time, right? Try to shuffle the group, shuffle the students so that everybody has a connect, with everyone. And whenever you give them any group assignment or projects, it's done with the utmost efficiency. Again, a very good, suggestion for making classrooms as a nurturing ground for students. And keep changing. The last point is keep changing, because change is the key, right? You have to make sure that you are updating your classrooms, you're changing and modifying your classrooms in technology, in color, in hue, in the terms of students, in the terms of layout, as and when the outside environment is changing, right? So never stop changing, because change is the key. Change is the medium by which the world runs, right? And yes, that is all from my end for today. A small assignment for all of you is I'll send a drive link in the chat box right now, and I want all the teachers to post one picture of their classroom, in the drive link. Okay, before 10 p.m. today. So an assignment for all the teachers on call today. I'll send a drive link right now. Please post a picture of your classroom, right? One picture, just one picture of your classroom in the drive link by before 10 p.m. today, and you have to name the picture in this manner. Please see it very with the utmost attention. You have to name the picture with your own name. Let's say if I post a picture of my classroom, I will not right now, before 10 p.m., ma'am. Before 10 p.m. today, you can post the picture. Okay, Harsha Agarwal, DAV Public School. Okay, so I will name the picture in this format and submit in the drive link. What we will do is we will see the pictures posted by all the teachers on call, and after you post the pictures, we will select one or two best pictures, out of the 400 pictures, and the classrooms which will be the most lively, which will be the most beautiful, and good out of all, will be displayed on our next webinar as an appreciation to that teacher. The recording of the same will be there on YouTube as well, and the videos, will garner lakhs and lakhs of view for all across India, right? So I will just send the drive link right now on chat. Do post a picture and name the picture with your own name and the school name, so that we can use the picture in the next webinar, and the recording of the same along with the appreciation to the particular teacher will be done in front of all the teachers, on the webinar, and the recording will be posted on YouTube as well. So you and your school can be seen by lakhs of people across India. Please do post a picture of your classroom, just one picture in this prescribed format. I have pasted the drive link right here. Oh, no worries, no worries. If any one of you doesn't have a picture, it's fine. But if you have a picture, do post it. Yes, yes, yes. Post any pictures you like. Oh, sure, sure, sure. I'll keep the drive link open till Monday then. Okay, Monday 12 p.m. I'll open the drive link open. Please, you can copy paste this link somewhere, Do post a picture and name the picture with your own name. Let's say Nilima Paul or Chetana Ji. Name with your name and your school name. Okay, this is a competition for all of you. We will select the best 2 or best 5 pictures. We will use the same pictures for the next webinar. And yes, the same will be also recorded and uploaded on YouTube with an appreciation to all of you and your schools as well. Right? Yes, yes, yes. Anything you have in hand, you can use that. No worries. Just post whatever you feel like. But it should be a classroom picture. Okay. Till Monday, Tuesday, we'll keep the drive link open. No worries. This is the link. Please copy paste it everyone somewhere. And don't leave the webinar. I'm sending the attendance link, for your certificate. Okay. Thank you for all the comments. It's very, very motivating for me, especially. Thank you so much for the motivating comments. And give me 1 minute. I'll just send you all the, attendance link for the day so that you all can get your certificates. All right. Just give me 1 minute. I'm sending the form link. Okay, I have the form link in hand. I'll share right now. Just a minute. All right. This is the attendance form link. Okay. Please fill it with correct email ID. Certificate will reach you in the next 24 hours, right? And do join the WhatsApp group, teachers. Please do join the WhatsApp group, which is at the end. The button is during the end. Okay. Do join the WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp group joining button will be during the end of the form. After you click the submit button, no, in this particular attendance form, you will get an option to join the WhatsApp group. Join the WhatsApp group, okay, to receive more and more updates and to participate in the Smart Teacher Festival conducted by the Homework App and team. Certificates will reach you in the next 24 hours via email. All right. Please don't forget to post your pictures in the drive link. I really want all of you, I want to see how all your classrooms are, and I want to, present some of them in the next webinar as well, right? So yes, looking forward to presenting some of the best classroom pictures from all across India in the next webinar. This is the drive link, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for all your comments. It really, really means a lot. And this is the form link, the form link you have to fill for your certificate. Copy paste both the things somewhere and don't miss out on it. Okay. Fill the form for today, the homework app type form, as you can see. It is the attendance or certificate form. Fill it before 7:10 p.m. After which the team will not accept any more responses. Okay. Please fill by 7:10 p.m. Post which no other responses will be accepted. Nilima ji, just a minute. I'm typing it out. Attendance link is this one. You'll get your certificates via this only. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for the comments. Means a lot. Attendance link is this one. And this is a Google Drive link, wherein I told you all to post the pictures. Posting classroom pics. Yeah. This is an activity for all of you. Do copy paste this link somewhere and do post your pictures, before next Monday or Tuesday, right? And we will select the best ones and the same will be displayed also on the webinars. Yeah. Fill the form before 7:10 p.m. Post which the team will not accept any more responses. And thank you so much for all the motivating comments and see you tomorrow again for again, a wonderful session. I think it's at 12:30 p.m. Yes. Okay.